What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another GGBL episode. We've got the week number 5 podcast here tonight. We're going to be talking about the playoffs, and we're going to be previewing the playoff brackets, and you guys get to make your picks on who you think is going to win this whole dang thing for a custom prospect. So you guys get to compete on that level for that, and we might as well just go ahead and get started. It's going to be an interesting night, to say the least. We'll talk about some statistics. We'll take a look at some of the rosters to kind of get you guys caught back up with on whose team, and then really offer up some opinions on why we think that a certain team is going to advance all the way or not. So hopefully we'll have some special guests on tonight. That's the intention. I wanted to go live at about 9 o'clock, but I decided to go ahead and get this thing started a little bit earlier tonight because I do think that it might go past 10. I don't want it to get past 10, but it could. It could possibly get past 10. So, how's your guys' night? How you doing? 8:42 out here in Michigan, but I'm anxious to hear how your guys' day has gone on a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. We got tomorrow. We got Friday. We're halfway through the week to the weekend. That's really what it comes down to. I'm looking forward to the weekend for sure. It's been a long week, that is for sure. Let's see. We got Noel's in here. Sports Gaming Josh. Juicebox is in. Dalton's in. Jameyer Williams is in. He says hi. Hello, sir. How are you doing? All right, guys. Well, might as well just go ahead and get started with it. Let's change the screen here real quick and get going. That's not what I wanted. There we go. That's what I wanted right there. There's your playoff bracket. So, guys, in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and link the playoff bracket challenge for you guys. That way it'll be here for you. It'll be here and it'll be ready for you. So you can have that. But if you wanted to wait, if you wanted to hold off and really kind of figure out like who's the favorite, like what's the analysis like who is going to win this thing, right? You can hold off and you can fill it out a little bit later, right? All right, so let's dive into this bracket challenge here real quick. All right, so let's get this underway. Let's do a little playoff preview. I'm going to start with the AL side of things. So we got Washington and Las Vegas. Washington and Las Vegas. Let's go to Washington's team here first. And if Dalton is ready, if he's ready, I'm going to bring him in because he's a Washington fan, and I want him to talk about Washington here real quick. So let's go ahead and try to get him on. I'm going to offer up my own opinions here real quick on Washington, and then I'll kind of check back in and see if he's ready to either rebuttal me or to agree with me or disagree. But I'm ready when he is. So let me just talk about Washington here real quick. So, the Swamp Monsters. What to say about the Swamp Monsters? Well, this team's offense, they got a good one. In gameplay, at least in gameplay. Every time I watch Washington, I'm very scared of their team. Like, you talk about their catching situation here. They got Mike Zunino with the 12 contact. That's actually true. That's real. That's not a glitch. It's 12 contact against righties. So lefties, he's gonna mash. Righties, it's all or nothing. 12 contact, 84 power. You know, you're probably gonna play Alex Jackson for more consistent offense, but Mike Zunino can provide some big time bop, some big time pop in that lineup. First base, as you know, as you're well aware, Alexander King had a glitch to him. I fixed him up. He had 7 years of MLB service. That's not true. He's a custom prospect. Last season, this is actually Alexander King. 310, 27 homers, 97 ribbies, and then this year just absolutely plummeted. And we couldn't figure out why, right? So it's like in MLB The Show's mind, he's a 7-year pro. He should be kind of regressing at this point, right? Well, that's why I ended up making Alexander King again. And, you know, it's been a nice little boost for him, right? So you see the plus 39, the plus 36. So I had to basically re-edit the guy. Well, he has finished the rest of the season out with 15 home runs, 317, 53 ribbies. Yeah, so he was a solid little player for him, man. So he's back. He's back. Whoa, Isaac. Oh my goodness, this is a sign. What's up, man? Isaac Gilno, what's up, man? Are you playing again this summer? I should be wearing my Flint Wolves hat. Everybody in the chat, say hello to Isaac. This guy is a player, man. He should be in the GGBL. He should be my custom prospect in the GGBL. Third base, pitcher, two-way player. Absolute beast for us this past season. That's hilarious. How did you find this channel? You just run across it and said, "Oh my God, that's Doug," or did I tell you about it? I don't even remember. But Alexander King, great player. Brandon Lau. What's there to say about Brandon Lau? 34 home runs, 101, 281. Like, he's gonna be amazing again. You got DJ Taylor, Brock Holtz. This team can hit. You got Andres Almanzar, Jack Reinheimer is actually a bench guy, but he's 274. He's pretty solid there. 299 though, as your leadoff guy. Tomas hit 301. You looked up Flint Wolves on YouTube. You did not. Did you see the little introduction? Did you? Yeah, let's go. Hopefully we get everybody back. I'm gonna try to do some more recruiting this winter for sure. Try to get some more college guys onto the team. But I had fun with you guys this year for sure. That's hilarious. You looked up Flint Wolves on YouTube, so you probably found last year's footage. I made a couple videos about Flint Wolves when you said we were gonna be ass. Yeah, and we were. We got better though. We got better. Corey Ray, Will Benson, Justin Turner. Like, guys, this team's got some offense, you know. So I kind of like Washington in gameplay. In simulation, it's a little bit of a different thing with their pitching staff being as, kind of high ERA as it is. But their offense can hit in gameplay. So if they get into a situation where, let's just say, the sim takes care of them, right? The simulation takes care of them. They win game 1 in gameplay. Game 2, they win in simulation. Now they're up 2-0. This is, of course, in the divisional series, right? So in the wild card game, it's in gameplay. So, against Las Vegas, they could find a way. But let's bring in Dalton. I think he's ready. So let's bring him on in here. And let's talk about what he thinks about Washington. Dalton, sir, how are you?
I'm good, Doug. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What are your thoughts on Washington?
Well, I was, I've been a big Washington fan, and DJ Taylor, that's my guy. But so I was looking through some statistics this season, and after watching them all year, I mean, they're the third best offense in the GGBL. Period. Like, they've scored only less runs than two teams, and both of those two teams are in the NL. So I think we've got a pretty good chance to take a run at the AL.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the batting average here, like, it's just, even in simulation, so you guys are at 270, you're first in the whole entire league at 270 behind the Blue Sox, who won the championship last year with that offense. So, yeah, you look at runs, second, thirds, yeah, like you said, third, right behind Carolina, some of the best teams in the league. Carolina, Los Angeles, the hits, you guys are first. Yeah, I think the offense is pretty legit. Your top 10 in doubles. It's hard to go against you guys. What about home runs here? Tied for 13th in home runs, but that's all right. So sometimes you can do a lot of damage just by consistently getting on base versus always looking for the home runs. So, who do you think is going to break out in the playoffs? Do you got a sleeper guy or an X factor? Like, this guy's got to be at his best in order for this team to go. Because now that you're in the playoffs, you're not playing teams like Philadelphia, or you're not playing teams like Santa Fe. Santa Fe was a possible playoff team, but you know what I mean. Now you're going up against the cream of the crop. So who's a couple guys that you think really need to step their game up this postseason?
Well, considering that, I mean, in my opinion, he's probably the most disappointing person in the GGBL this season. I think Yu Darvish really, really needs to step it up. And because, I mean, 81 overall, he's probably one of the higher rated pitchers in the GGBL, and he was not even close to as good as most of them. And so I think if he doesn't step up, I think we're probably going to go down pretty early. But offensively, I think that DJ Taylor needs to step up. I think, his average was down a bit. I mean, I know he's a rookie, but his average was down a little bit. So I think he's got some room for improvement. And I think Brandon Lau's going to show up every night. I think Alexander King's going to show up almost every night. I think we've just got some young bats that really need to step up, and I think our pitching staff needs to at least be above mediocrity. And I think we can go a long ways.
I would agree with you that what you really need, in my opinion, what you really need is you need Alexander King in gameplay to prove that the regression that he was having with that 7-year glitch, he needs to show up in gameplay for you, for sure. As the number 3 hitter, he needs to be at that level where he was at in year 1. Or if he's not, you're really just relying on, instead of your 3, 4, 5, you're only relying on 4, 5, 6. Which, do you really want to hang your cap on Corey Ray and DJ Taylor, the rookie? I don't know. You need this guy. This is your horse.
Well, I mean, I'd hang my hat on DJ Taylor, but that's not me being biased or anything.
You would. That's your guy. He's not bad.
But
17 doubles. I mean, you take that. 35 walks, 15 homers in your rookie year. You take it. But if they could get 300 out of him in the postseason, I think you'd go far.
I think we get 275 out of DJ Taylor and we go far. I mean, because you got to think, we've got probably, in my opinion, and this isn't, like I said, this is an unbiased opinion. I know I'm a fan, whatever. I think we've probably got the best, one of the best, if not the best 3, 4, 5 in the GGBL. I mean, because you think we've got King, we've got Lau, and then we've got Taylor. And I know Taylor's young, but I mean, you look at the numbers, and between those 3 guys, they're insane. I mean, Brandon Lau last year, looking at last year's numbers, that guy in the postseason was nuts. If he would have had anybody better than Joey Votto around him, I think that we would have won the World Series last year.
Yeah, could have easily done that. I like Washington. I hope they do something. I really do. They're one of my teams, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got them, and then my other team was very disappointing. So I don't want to talk about those guys. Though we got Fat Lightning on that team. I don't want to talk about those guys.
All right, let me. We're moving over to Las Vegas, and I figure since you guys are playing against these guys, you might as well stay on and talk about what you're going to have to do to take out Las Vegas, because this team they could match you offensively, it looks like. So they got Nelson De La Cruz, the custom prospect, in 279 at the leadoff. They got Jack Maturas. He actually took on the starting role out in center field after a little while, had 15 doubles in 79 games. So that's he's going to be good, man. 348 OBP. That's pretty solid for a rookie. Of course, Freddie Freeman with 42 home runs and 119. Yasiel Puig almost with 100 RBIs this season. Colin Moran, 292. Benintendi did not hit for a lot of average at 222, but the homers and RBI production was there. Kai Souza Barbosa, custom player, 228. Again, the batting average down, but the run production and the homers was there. Brett Netzer, he's going to get a start at second base. This is interesting. I think this is going to have to change, because you know what the CPU likes to do? They like to totally change what the roster looks like for the playoffs. So you have basically this moment in time to make sure that the playoff roster is set. This second base thing is going to be Chad De La Guerra, because he was their starter all year. So if you see something like this when we're previewing the teams, just know that that's going to change. I got to get that correct. So Netzer's not on the team. It's going to be Chad De La Guerra. But I don't know, man. I think this offense is going to be able to hang with you, but I think in, like you said, in that wild card matchup, it's going to be Darvish versus Keuchel, and Darvish has got to be the guy. He's got to be the guy because if all things are equal, which it looks like it kind of is, in the offensive side of things, the pitching has to be better. Darvish has got to be better.
Oh, I agree completely. I'm actually, out of all of the teams in the AL, I think the Nuggets are the only team that I'm actually nervous about playing. I think they're the only team that we have matchup issues with, to be honest with you. I mean, because you've got Freddie Freeman and Puig. Colin Moran's a good ball player, but Minatindi, I mean, it's Benny Biceps. You can't go wrong. And then De La Cruz, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
what bad things can I say about him? I mean, in gameplay, the guy's been insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching the end of the season, just watching him go off to carry them through. I honestly think he was the reason why they made it, is because of him. Between him and Souza and De La Guerra, they carried that team into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, 75 runs scored at the top of the order. Helps when you've got Freeman and Puig to knock you in, but when you're setting the table like that, and then you give these guys opportunities, yeah, it's going to be – they're a very, very tough team. And then, of course, Keuchel coming over from the Miami Moonshots. Now, he didn't have necessarily the greatest second half. I wish in the show they would be able to, like, kind of break up first half and second half stats so you can kind of tell like how the guy did. But I remember that in some of the games that he played, he was getting shelled a little bit. So if that's a sign of things to come, that will help. That's definitely kind of moving into your favor for Washington to actually win the game. But we've talked about before about the Nuggets pitching staff and their bullpen. Not necessarily a strength. They need the offense to really like push them over the top. So again, beating a dead horse a little bit. It comes back to Washington needing Yu Darvish. So I agree with that take. I agree with that.
Yeah. Because I think we match up well against Columbus. I agree that I think we match up well against New York. I don't see any reason why we can't beat the Pizzazz. I think their pitching staff is actually worse than Las Vegas's. And then Phoenix, I don't see a problem there either for us in Washington. But I think Las Vegas legitimately is our biggest matchup issue, and I think it's because we're so similar that either we're going to beat them by a lot or they're going to crush us. And I think that's just how that's going to come up. It's going to be one team either crushing the other, or it's going to be the best game that we're going to see all GGBL postseason.
It could be. All right, so staying in the AL, we'll move on to Columbus, and then we're going to jump over to the wild card and the NL side of things to kind of shake it up a little bit. But Columbus, let's talk real quick about Columbus. We've got a team that Columbus is tough for me because I want to be able to root for them. I do. I want to be able to like have confidence in them, but their offense to me just doesn't stand out enough for me, man. It doesn't do enough for me. You got Gamble leading them off. Jack Larson hitting 275. Frankie Lindor, yeah. I mean, that's good. That's great. 30 homers, 109, 284. You take that for sure, man. 284 from Davis. Almost 100 RBIs, almost 30 home runs. Wilmer Flores was great again in GGBL play. Looking back at last year for Miami, what he did. 278, 23 homers. Had a little bit of a drop-off, but, I mean, he was consistent. Chris Shaw coming here, Jalen Davis, Shed Long, Austin Wells. You got Bo Callaway was in the running for Rookie of the Year. It's a good offense. Now, I want to know where Aristides Aquino is, so that's another perfect example of MLB The Show kind of getting their hands involved a little too much into the soup. You can't put a guy 20 home runs. You can't put a guy down like that. So, Aquino's going to be on the team. Matt Davidson's going to be up on the team. So he was moved down. So you got to throw them in there. So as far as contact goes, that's what I'd be concerned for Columbus about that. So whoever they play against, it's either Washington or Las Vegas. I don't know if their offense is going to be enough to hang with either of those two teams.
I
really
agree.
don't. But their pitching staff could easily shut them down. I mean, their pitching's really good. The win-loss record doesn't totally blow you out of the water, but the ERA is solid. Diego Garcia 3.4, Liberatore 3.8, LaPierre 3.1, Espino. I think he won the Cy Young in the AL. 204 strikeouts with a 3 ERA. I want to check that real quick. I think he won the freaking Cy Young. Yeah, he did. 17-7, 3 ERA, 204 strikeouts. So the ALDS, no matter who matches up with Columbus, will be a tale of two different teams, two different styles. Heavy offense, heavy pitching. We'll see which one dukes it out, gets the W. But who do you like in that?
Agreed. So honestly, it really depends on. Actually, I don't even think it really depends on the wild card. I think either of the wild card teams take out Columbus. I like Columbus. I do. I like their 3-4-5. I think their 3-4-5 hitters are very, very good. I think they're one of the they're up there with Washington and LA and Carolina with their 3-4-5. It's everybody else that's the problem. I mean, Aquino is not a bad ball player, but he hit 226 this year.
Yeah, it was like 220.
You can't do anything with that. I mean, yeah, cool, you hit 20 bombs, but 226, that's getting us nowhere. So, but I think their pitching staff is really good. I don't think Espino should have won the Cy Young. That should have been Garrett Cole. I just think Garrett Cole didn't win it because he had a bad first half. But
yeah, he had way more strikeouts. I think he had just a little higher ERA.
No, he was lower. He was 258 strikeouts, and he had a 2.78 ERA.
He should have.
But he was 12-8.
Yeah.
He had a really bad first half, though, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
His first half was rough. So most of that was bringing it back from the first half into the second half, and that's why his stats look really good now.
Yeah.
But those 8 losses, for a lot of those were first half losses. So
I mean, I guess even in that case, then just give it to Syndergaard at 3.01 with an 18-9. But then I guess Espino,
less strikeouts, less ERA, or worse ERA.
It's just the show. It's just the show.
Yeah.
The CPU making a call. So it's just kind of funny that they gave it to the number 4 in the rotation. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Columbus is gonna, whatever happens in that ALDS, it's probably gonna go 5 games because whoever they play against, they're gonna have to really dig deep. If it's Washington or Las Vegas, it's going to be a tough series for Columbus for sure. If they get out of there, it's not going to be a sweep. Let's just say that. There's no way it's a sweep. These two teams in the wild card are some of the strongest in the AL side of things. But all right,
offensively for sure.
Let's go to the NL side of things. Let's talk about Richmond real quick. Because they're easy to talk about for me. But going up against San Francisco. This is tough because it's a one game playoff again. So we had to do 162 to get to 163. We had to get through 163 against Shane Bieber. We did that. So we took that out. But now you got to do another one game playoff against Tyler Glasnow. I can't say that I like our chances there. We're going to need timely hitting. We're going to need this 4-5-6 to really come through for us. Kyle Lewis, Ruth, and Camargo, and if that's your 4-5-6 against a good team like San Francisco, I think that I think we'll lose that. If I'm being honest with you, really we need everybody to step up in the lineup. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to because you need as many runs as you possibly can. You're not going to win. You're not going to be able to shut these guys down with this pitching staff. Lynch upwards of 4. Whitley upwards of 4, Clark Schmidt 3.22, Aaron Ashby upwards of 4, Justin Steele upwards of 4, Sparkman 4.6. Our pitching staff, everybody except the setups and closers, pretty much are in that high 4, high 3 range. So it's going to be way too tough for us. I think when I look at San Francisco's lineup, I see a really good hitting team. I see table setters at the top. I mean, Will Till had 31 stolen bases this year, upped his batting average from 209 to 243. Fairly consistent with the power, 29 doubles, 10 homers, compared to 11 and 25. Cut down in the strikeouts. So he's going to be a tough test to handle. And then you got 330 out of number 2 from Adam Haseley, Yelich, Hira. Hira had 125 RBIs this season, guys. 43 home runs. Satchel Michaels, 260, 17. Kyle Holder at shortstop, 20 and 56 with 282. I mean, how can you go against the San Francisco Grizzlies in a one-game situation? I mean, this team, they can hit, they can pitch. You know, Glasnow is no slouch, man. 238, 315. Chirinos is great. Rennie was good, 3.8. Tyler Beede was not so great. Taylor Widener just getting this. He shouldn't even be in there, honestly. It should be Swanson or David Hess. So this pitching, this bullpen, James Hoyt, Robertson, Baranta, they're just too tough. They're just too tough. If I'm picking anybody in that wild card, I'm going with San Francisco.
I disagree.
Whoa! You're going to take Richmond, huh? You like the
I
good
do.
boys. Wow.
So the reasoning behind that is the second half of that end of the season. I mean, Richmond was out of their minds. To be honest with you, they played above where they'd been all season. I mean, if you look back and you see, you know, at one point you guys were 5 games back within that last stretch there, and then all of a sudden you guys are in a chance for that wild card. I mean, you guys came from 5 games back within a couple weeks. I mean, look at that stretch there: St. Louis, Miami, Michigan. I mean, you guys won. What was that? That what?
18.
Nine out of the last 11 there.
Won 18 games total. 18 games total in September. So that's 30 minus the 2 off days. So that's 28. So we went 18 and 10 in September.
Yeah, I can't see the 25th, but between the 20th and the 30th, it looks like you guys went 9 out of 11 there, and that stretch right there alone is what carried you guys into getting that spot.
Yep.
So
yeah. I mean, so I guess you're going with the hot hand then, is what you're saying.
Yes, I'm going with the hot hand for sure. By the way, Joshua Tora was not on your roster.
Yeah, so that needs to change too. I don't know what goes into the thought process with the show. Like, why would you take him off? I don't get. And neither was Yara Munoz. So, okay. I mean, maybe that changes some things. Tora and Munoz will be starters on that team, so they'll be in the lineup. But I don't know. I still like San Fran.
I do like San Fran. I really do. I think that I'm running with the hot hand there. And, you know, that's the same reason kind of that I'm rolling with Washington in the AL is because of the hot hand at this point. But I think Richmond, I don't think you could. It's hard. It makes it very challenging to bet against them, in my opinion. It really does, because they look insane over the last couple weeks, and I really like them anyways. So, and I think Matt Olson's the X factor there.
Matt Olson needs to hit a home run. He needs to hit like 2 home runs in that game. All right, let's talk real quick about the LA Knights. So the team that either one of us are going to have to play once we win. Very loaded team. Obviously, in gameplay, they have not really performed. We've seen that a couple times, and it's a very weird dynamic with LA. So obviously, they've got a ton of talent on this team: Acuna, Castellanos, Conforto, Seager now. So they've got probably the best foursome that you could ask for. So you got a whole bunch of major leaguers here inside the lineup, which a lot of teams don't have in this league. And that's really what's going to drive this team. You need Acuna to step up and just dominate. You need Castellanos to drive in a bunch of runs. He hit 40 home runs this year, 118. Look at the RBI totals: 117, 118, 125. Your 3-4-5 has over 300 RBIs. That's ridiculous. But it's gameplay, and a lot of times Los Angeles, they just don't do enough in gameplay. So if it's Richmond if it's Richmond's pitching staff's got to go up against this, we're toast. We're absolutely toast. If it's San Francisco going up against this team, I think San Francisco's offense, yeah, you take LA's offense over San Francisco's, but I think San Francisco can hang. We've seen that a couple times in gameplay with San Francisco. So, yeah, I would think that in that matchup, if it's Richmond, we'll lose that. If it's San Fran, it should be pretty tight. Now, as far as their pitching staff goes, Janil Rivera had a 3.19, 108 in his rookie season, and he was a two-way guy. So he hit 280, 348, 6 homers, 51 games played, 82 at bats. So he got sprinkled in as a two-way guy. So they'll definitely want to use him against righties. So he's a left-handed hitter, so they'll use him against righties out in center field over Luis Basabe. But they'll need Sagano to step up and perform like he did in the season. 3.3, 1.13. Hancock's got to be better. McClanahan's got to be better with that 5+. Akita Radon probably should be the starter here over McClanahan. I know he's better an overall player, but Radon was a starter the whole year, so that's probably got to change. But Wes Benjamin, 19 games that he won, 3.78, 1.26. So tough team in LA. I think they've got a really good shot to get over to that finals. Really good shot. Probably a better shot than Carolina does, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But I think I kind of like LA getting out of there. Kind of like LA getting out of the NL.
Yeah, I for sure have LA into the CS for sure. I don't have them in the World Series though.
Interesting take there.
I think there's only 2 teams in the whole entire GGBL that can take them out of this playoffs, and they're the top 2 teams in the NL.
All right,
and that's Nashville and Carolina.
Ooh, okay, all right. So that's a little preview right there. So let's talk about Carolina. So, can Carolina repeat? That's the question. And it's hard. It's hard to go against them. It's hard to go against the champs. They've proven it before. They were the best team in the NL. No, they were the second best team in the NL. LA got the rights to the bye week, but Juan Soto going off, man. 350. He ended the season with 350. Mercedes coming over from the major leagues this season had over 100 RBIs now, 282. That's a huge addition to this offense. It really didn't need the help, but they got it anyway. Seiko Ichiman, 237, 20 homers. Seth Mejias-Breen is an interesting story. If you guys remember about Seth Mejias-Breen, he was a June call-up in year number 1 and has seen so much progression through his time here. He's a 30-year-old player, and you can see the stats that he put up. He had 14 home runs since June of last season, and then he got the starting gig, and he really proved that move was the right thing to do. He had 22 home runs this season, so a lot better production than Josh Ockamy gave him. And if you remember in the playoffs, Ockamy was kind of like that X Factor guy. They got so many clutch hits from him in the playoffs, and I'm kind of looking at Seth Mejias-Breen as kind of that dude that if they can get again another X Factor type of production and performance, sneaky production from that first base slot, most of the team hasn't changed. So if it's Mejias-Breen replacing Ockamy, I think that they might just repeat again.
I think offensively they're an insane team. Mejias-Breen is definitely probably one of my favorite young guys in the league. But Juan Soto actually kind of disappointed me, to be honest, at 350. I was looking for that first 400. I was like, oh, you got to have 400. Come on, you can do it.
Well, so that's the other thing that you bring up. That's a good point. So with averages, as everybody knows, with averages, it's always likely to come down. Just the law of averages. But when you were hitting 400 nearing All-Star break, like you got a half a season. That's a lot of sample size. That's a lot of sample size. It's going to take a lot of offers to get you to move down. The fact that he was at 400 and now he's at 350 to end the year, that kind of tells me he got cold a little bit. Like he got pretty cold to bring that down from 400 to 50 batting points. In the second half, that's a lot. Considering the sample size, it's a lot.
Agreed.
Their rotation in their bullpen is still good, man. There's nothing much has changed. They still got Canley, they still got Ramos, Brandon Workman's back there, Suarez, Collins, Shargoy. These guys here were an integral piece to that Blue Sox bullpen last season. But what's interesting now is with Reynaldo Lopez coming over from Portland as a trade acquisition, Jeff Samardzija kind of has slid out of the rotation and now is a bullpen guy. He's seen some regression here. If they need him in a pinch, if they need him in a tough spot, maybe they go that way. Veteran, experience, champion. He's a guy that they want to bring in there to get the clutch outs. Mike Leake, of course, 15-11 with 201 innings pitched. He was a starter at one point too, but with the emergence of Cheltenham, the June prospect call-up, he's not pitching too well at a 5.05, and honestly, they've got a good situation with Carolina. You could go with like a 3-man rotation with Carolina. You could do that. Maybe just a 4-man rotation. You don't even need to use Cheltenham. You don't even need to follow the traditional 5, right? So I mean, you've seen teams do that in the past before too. So they've got a lot of flexibility. They got a ton of offensive weapons. I mean, this team is loaded. It's going to be really tough to beat them, but Nashville, one of my favorite teams. I think personally my favorite team outside of course Richmond, but my favorite team. I really hope they do it, man. I really hope that they do it. They're giving off this offense to me is giving off so many 2006 Detroit Tigers-esque feel, man. It's just that's the way it feels to me. You've got Ketel Marte, kind of like that Maglio Ordonez thing going on. He's hitting .335. He's winning batting title. Like he's just carrying the offense, right? You've got nice production from Garrett Kemmerly, kind of like that Placido Polanco hitting singles all the time. They've got this timely hitting thing happening too with Andrew Vaughn and where's our boy here? Actually, Demetrius Edwards George, more like that Placido Polanco guy, type guy. Where is the So they probably did it here to Logan Morrison, yeah. So Logan Morrison's got to come up here and play. They're not leaving a guy off like that. 28 homers, 74 ribbies. He'll be back on. But I look at this team and I think their offense seems wacky. It seems goofy. It seems like why are they producing runs? How are they winning games right now? But they do. And it's because of their pitching staff. Their pitching staff is so good. And if any team is going to be able to beat Carolina, kind of like what Dalton was saying here and alluding to, if any team's going to beat Carolina, it's Nashville. They've got the best chance. Right off the get-go, right off the rip, they got the best shot. When you've got Freddie Peralta, Brady Singer, Josiah Gray, Robbie Ray, Margevicius will be in the starting spot here, and he's not a bullpen guy. Frankie Freeman's a reliever. Yeri Rodriguez is a reliever. So you've got this pitching staff that's just pitching lights out, man. I think they can hang with them. If they can get that offense going still, I think they can hang.
I think between Margevicius, Peralta, and Singer, this pitching staff is absolutely insane. And then if Ketel Marte steps up and continues where he's at right now, I really do not see Nashville losing until the World Series.
That's a hot. Now that to a lot of people it's a hot take, man. It's a hot take. But
how can you? They're .06 better than any other team in the whole GGBL and ERA, and the next best one is Phoenix, who's also there, and then Columbus, who's also in here. But neither one of those teams, I think, has quite the offense that Nashville does. I mean, when Nashville's offense is on, offense is on.
Yep.
Like, they play really well.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing we'll talk about when we get to Phoenix. Like, I don't think anybody expected this out of Nashville, though. Like, when we looked at Phoenix's pitching staff at the beginning of the year, we knew that was a strength. We knew that that's what was going to carry the team. But then, like, as you went on and as you went forward, and Nashville started, like, continuously just beating people series after series after series, and then you see this statistic, it's like they come through. They just come through. 3.44, first in ERA, ahead of the team that everybody loves with pitching, Phoenix. And we talked about Columbus with their pitching staff, so there's just more sample size for everybody. And Carolina and San Francisco, 7th and 8th. So,
yeah, Portland's actually my favorite pitching staff, but
what's Portland?
They have no offense. So, Gonsolin, Gonzalez, and Bumgarner.
Oh, San Diego.
Oh, is that San Diego?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's top 5. Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. It's good. Let's go to what about shutouts? How do we have What? We're third in shutouts? Our pitching staff is third in shutouts? Clark Schmidt is 2. That's crazy. Look at saves. Second saves for Nashville. Hits allowed, 4th. Their pitching staff's allowed the 4th lowest. First for Phoenix. Runs allowed, 590. They're first. They just don't give up runs, man. They just shut teams down. It's gonna earned runs too, 555. Yeah, home runs allowed. That's a huge statistic. That's big time. Take a look at that. Where's Phoenix on that list? Top 5. But they don't allow the home run ball. So if you can keep Carolina in the ballpark, that gives yourself a chance.
For sure.
All right, almost done, guys. Phoenix and New York. We're going to review Phoenix now because we've kind of alluded to them a little bit. We'll run through them fairly quickly here, but, you know, I'm sorry, Phoenix fans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I doubted you. This is my moment to apologize to you. This is my moment that I have to swallow the pride and say I was wrong. Even though I've been doing that for the last, 4 videos. I was wrong about Phoenix. I was way wrong. I think I had this team finishing in last place in the division. And, you know, I'm a believer in Phoenix. They've turned me into a believer. They come through, and especially with the acquisition of LeCastro and Dietrich into this lineup and that extra power. And they got a nice little combination there of power, speed, leadoff hitter. They're more complete offense now than they were when I picked them to go in last place. But obviously they didn't need LeCastro and Dietrich in order to do that. And now that they have those guys, it's like how can you go against them? I mean, when Jesse Winker's hitting 340 with power, Nunez almost had over 100 RBIs. Renato Nunez, of all people, 40 homers, 98 ribbies. The progression for him, +7, +5, +5. Yeah, it's a pretty nice, timely hitting, power hitting group there. So, and then when you get 22 home runs, 72 and 282 out of a guy like Pedro Alvarez, a dude that they just drafted, it's a CPU generated guy, D potential player. They produced. Their offense produced when I didn't think they would. But then when you get that mixed in with their pitching staff, Fried, Ramos, 2 tough lefties, over 200 strikeouts apiece. Rick Porcello was a trade acquisition last season for Asa Lacy. You guys remember from New Orleans from the swing. Some people were a little against that trade, but it looks like it's working out just fine. Elior Letterman, 3.9 as a rookie. And then, of course, Zach Logue with a 10-8 record. Sewald, Valdez, Brad Brock, Delaplane, Hardy, Holmes, Strickland, Lyons. I mean, they've got just, it's loaded back there, man. It's loaded back there. I think in the AL, it's kind of not really a hot take, but I like Phoenix. Totally change of a different tune, man, but I like Phoenix going all the way. I don't think, I just can't pick against them. I know we haven't previewed New York yet, but I can't pick against them.
I wouldn't pick against them until the conference series.
They're too good. They're too good.
I mean, I mean, so it's funny. I was actually going to make a joke, but it was going to age me a bit, and you would laugh because it was going to age you too. So I'm not going to make the joke.
Just
But
do it. Do it. Please, please.
every time I hear Della play, and I just think the plane. So, and like, yeah. So we just aged ourselves a little bit. So
we did.
But no, I mean, I love Phoenix. I think that between like Jesse Winker, I think he's the offensive X factor, and then Phoenix. I mean, Max Fried. There's nothing bad you can say about Max Fried right now. The guy is nuts. I mean, that last game that we saw with Phoenix in gameplay, I mean, he pitched, oh man, out of this world. But I mean, LeCastro is doing really well since he's been in Phoenix. I think he's actually been a lot better. I think he's up like probably point. I mean, it's only .1 in his average, but that's a lot considering that they didn't get him until trade day.
Right.
So, but he's hitting a lot better. He looks a lot better. He's probably the X factor that they need based on his speed and everything like that. That's what they really needed on this team. Bad. I mean, Dietrich was just an add-in, but LeCastro, I think, was the big prize out of their trade.
Yep,
there.
I agree.
I mean, and you have Winker and Nunez to hit him in, so.
All right, let's preview the New York Pizzazz, the runner-ups from last season. And this was a team that acquired Benito Ramirez from the draft, and he's a little bit cold right now, but look at this is insane, guys. I rarely ever see this stuff, but Benito got a plus 11 during the season and a plus 10 against power against lefties. So Benito Ramirez, 28 doubles, by the way. 28 doubles, 16 homers, 31 stolen bags. He's going to steal a lot. He's very aggressive out there, 281, 359. Doesn't commit a lot of errors. He had one all season. So he's my X factor for the Pizzazz. I mean, I guess you might argue that Nicky Delmonico needs to be that X factor again for them to get back. But really, when I look at them and their matchup here in that ALDS against Phoenix, they've got a lot of left-handed hitters in this lineup. They got, especially their big hitters, right? So Harper, Delmonico, Mitchell comes through every so often. Florentino, they're going to need him at the bottom of the order. DeMarcus King is going to be the starting second baseman, by the way, guys, so not Domingo Leyba. He actually started in September the rest of the way, so he had 312, had 77 at-bats too, by the way, so he's got a lot of power. But Phoenix has a lot of left-handed pitchers. They're going to be playing the matchups against these guys. I just... it's hard, man. It's tough because I want to go against go against New York, but they always find a way to just like stick it to me because I'm not a Yankees guy, man. I hate the Yankees, and I tried to make the Pizzazz remind me less of the Yankees and more of the Mets, and just remind me more of New York. But they were a very annoying team to me last year, and I couldn't figure them out. So I've got this thing against New York a little bit. But do I want chaos? Do I want to root for them a little bit? Tiny bit to root against Phoenix. But Phoenix is so tough. I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see Phoenix get all the way because they have such a good pitching staff. I want to see a team like that play against a team that's got a heavy offense like LA or Carolina. I would love to see that. I think I want to see those two different styles go up against each other and see who wins. But their pitching staff, again, it seems like it was a little rough this season, but it didn't seem to stop them from making the playoffs. Casey Mize, 3.24, 1.22. Shugart was bad at a 5. Alexei Shevchuk turned his season around, 3.68, 1.23. Was a far cry from what he did last year, with 2.91 and 1.25, but he did bring down the whip. This was a byproduct of his early struggles. So if we did have that second half split and really figure out how he did in that second half, I think he would be one of the better pitchers in the league. Had more strikeouts, home runs doubled him up a little bit. Walks pretty consistent last season to this year. So I think Shevchuk's kind of bringing himself back down to where he should be. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of responds in the playoffs this year. But Jay Groom only 31 2/3. Pitching staff will get fixed up. I think De La Rosa was a starter. I'm going to move him back over, but they're going to need the bullpen to step up for sure. They can't have what they had last season with the bullpen kind of blowing up in their face a little bit, especially if they want to come through and beat Phoenix. Their pitching's got to match their pitching. New York's pitching has to match New York's pitching. That's really what it comes down to. So,
I really don't like New York here. I really don't. I don't think they can get past Phoenix.
I think I would agree. I think it's just too tough. I think it's just
their pitching staff is just bleh. I mean, like New York has maybe one pitcher that's consistently good, and that's Casey Mize. No offense to Shevchuk. I think Shevchuk has his moments where he's, a potential Cy Young winner down the line. But there's other moments where I'm like, this guy belongs in AAA, because I mean that's just how his pitcher is. He's hit or miss.
Yep.
And their bullpen besides, what was it, Trevor May or whoever their closer is, he's the only good pitcher in their bullpen. Everybody else is a far cry from a good pitcher. I mean, they have blown up time after time after time. And I think that New York, even with that offense and Delmonico, and I'm a big Bendito fan. I really enjoyed watching the guy. I think he should have been Rookie of the Year. But I don't see that offense being enough, considering that Phoenix has a good offense as well.
Whoa, look at this, by the way. You mentioned Rookie of the Year. Daniel Espino was Rookie of the Year at 20 years old. I didn't even realize this. He won Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young.
if that isn't a reason to raise that potential, I don't know what is. Good Lord.
We're gonna have to do that, I think. He wins an award. He wins a freaking award. 2 awards. This is a rookie at 20 years old. I think I gotta move him to an A. I think I have to.
I feel like you have to, because that's just nuts. You don't see that. You really don't see that.
No, I don't even know how I missed that. Honestly,
I think I actually knew that, and then but I didn't remember that he won the Cy Young. I knew he won Rookie of the Year, but I hadn't realized that he won Cy Young.
That's crazy.
So we were on complete opposite sides there. But yeah, I thought Bendito should have won the Rookie of the Year in the AL.
Yeah, if anything, if they had more of a list, he would have had to been top 5 for sure.
What is that symbol in the bottom right? Whoa, look at the logo in the bottom right.
Oh, it's double A.
Oh, okay. That freaked me out.
Oh, guys, there's a new team. There's a new GGBL team. I didn't show you yet. No. All right, guys. Well, that is our playoff preview. Thank you to Dalton for coming on in and offering your analysis and picks. Let's end it. Let's actually end it with our picks. Our official bracket picks. So you go first, sir. Guest first. What's your actual official Dalton Jet bracket pick'em? What do you got?
Okay, so you want me where do you want me to start?
You can start anywhere. Go on anywhere.
All right. Well, in the AL, I've got Washington getting past Vegas in the greatest game of the whole entire GGBL playoffs, and then I've got Phoenix and Washington meeting in the ALCS. I think Washington's too big of a matchup against Columbus, and then this was probably the hardest decision for me. Throughout the whole entire playoff bracket, I actually have Washington in the World Series.
You homer! We need another. We need more analysis.
No, there's no homer here. I think the offense is just gonna. I think based on the way they played over the course of the season, and then especially at the end of the season, though, I think their offense is on fire, and I think they're just gonna come out and light up the whole AL side. And then NL, I've got Richmond taking out San Francisco, which we've already talked about that. And then I've got LA taking them out. I've got Nashville over Carolina, and then Nashville over LA. So I think it's going to be a Swamp Monster Nashville.
Wow.
World Series.
All right. So, okay. All right. Well, if you guys would like to make your picks, go ahead and click on the Google form link in the live chat. I'll also have that in the pinned comment and the description of the video, so you guys can, if you're watching this on replay, you can go check that out. These streams will happen on Friday afternoon, this Friday, 11/12. So the 12th of November. So this Friday coming up over on Twitch. We'll be live streaming this at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's Eastern Standard Time, 4 o'clock, and then we'll just go all night. We'll do the wild card rounds first, and then we're going to try to do the entire ALDS. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to get through everything then. I'm going to try my best. Each game lasts about an hour. So how we're going to run this is, of course, we got to watch the wild card games first. So that'll take 2 hours max. It'll get us to about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30, where we actually start the ALDS, NLDS side of things. So how we're going to work this is all game 1s will be played. Game 2s will be simulated. If in a situation that we get, like, let's say Phoenix and New York, we'll use that as a series example. So Phoenix and New York, Phoenix wins game 1 in gameplay. Phoenix wins game 2 in simulation. Because New York is on the verge of being eliminated, possibly 3-0 and getting swept, we have to watch that game. So in any situation, if a team gets down into an elimination side of things, we got to watch it. We got to watch that gameplay. Let's say, for example, it's tied 1-1. Phoenix wins in gameplay. New York wins in simulation. It's now tied 1-1. I'm going to simulate game number 3. Because someone's got to break the tie and then get it to a 2-1 series. Once it's in a 2-1 series, then we'll watch that game. It could end there. It could end in a 3-1. Phoenix could win. It could go New York side of things, go back 2-2. And then we got to watch that game again. We got to watch game 5 because it's an elimination game for both teams to determine who wins. So I don't know if we're going to get through the whole divisional series. We might have to move it from Friday. We might have to do it in 2 days. We might have to do it on Friday and do it on Saturday. But ultimately, the Monday highlight reel here on YouTube, the Monday GGBL upload, is going to be the entire wildcard and divisional series all cram-packed into one video. And that way we can get to the ALCS and the NLCS side of things, and we'll go from there. So now as far as my picks, guys, because we got to think that strike a balance between gameplay and sim. What's going to happen? I'll start on the AL. I think in gameplay, I think Washington's going to win the game. I think that offense is just too good. I think Las Vegas, I think both pitchers, Keuchel and Darvish, they've been shaky. I think that's how the game's going to go. Right off the get-go, it's going to be a bullpen battle. Ultimately, I think Washington's going to win because I think they have a stronger team. I think their offense is way better than what Las Vegas's bullpen is. So I think Washington advances to face Columbus. I like Phoenix in this matchup against New York. I think that pitching is just way too tough. Now, depending on where these games are going to be played, if it's in, I guess it doesn't matter because both ballparks are really loaded offensive ballparks. Like you see home runs flying all over the place out there. So I still like Phoenix. I think Phoenix will get it done in the ALDS. Now between Washington and Columbus, that's going to be a really tough series. I'll take Washington in that one as well. Long series for Columbus. They got a really good pitching staff, but I think it's going to go all 5 games in there. But I think Washington will win out. And then you got a Phoenix and Washington situation in the ALCS. I'll take Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to get all the way there to the GGBL World Series. NL side of things, I'll take San Francisco over Richmond. I think between Glasnow and Daniel Lynch, I think you got to go with Glasnow in that matchup. So I'll go with San Fran. Nashville, Carolina. That is so tough for me. It's so tough for me. But I think I got to go with Carolina. I think I got to go to Carolina. Because when you're talking about gameplay, you're talking about how good that Carolina is, how loaded they are, how much depth they have, how much versatility they have. I think the Cinderella run ends for Nashville. I hope it doesn't. I'm praying that it doesn't. But if I'm playing the odds, I got to go Carolina. Now, between San Francisco and LA, I will take San Francisco here. I'm taking San Fran over LA. I think that LA in gameplay is kind of like a paper tiger. So I got a San Francisco-Carolina matchup. I'll take Carolina. I think Carolina gets all the way back there. And then we've got a situation where we got Phoenix and Carolina, two totally different types of teams squaring off against each other. It'll be a fun GGBL World Series. That is for sure. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Now,
some people just like to watch the world burn.
I gotta pick up who I'm gonna think's gonna win it.
Yeah, I didn't pick my winner either.
Who's your winner? You had you got Nash. You said you got Nashville and Washington.
Washington, yeah.
Who you got winning? Washington, of course.
God
dang it, Dalton. All right, well,
they're
hey,
good, man.
That's ridiculous. So he takes Washington. I'll take Phoenix. I'll take Phoenix winning the whole thing because they're out to screw me. They're out to screw me. That's what it all comes down to. They're out to prove me wrong. I picked them to finish last, and then they end up on top. So there you go. I'll take Phoenix winning the whole dang thing over Carolina. Carolina gets all the way back, but Phoenix's pitching is way too strong. They get it done. So, guys, that's it for the video. That's it for the playoff preview. Thank you very much for joining in, Dalton. Thank you for your analysis. And I will see you guys on Friday for the Twitch live streams. Like I said, try to do all the DS. Don't really know if that's gonna work out the way that I want it to. We'll probably have to do it on Saturday as well as a back-to-back type of live stream over on Twitch, Friday and Saturday. So, guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I will see you over there. If not there, I'll see you on Monday with all of the highlight reel action cut up for you. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, peace.